what's up guys? So you're an e-commerce brand and you're looking to scale, but you just can't figure out how to get to either 6, 7, or 8 figures. Watch this video. I'm not pitching you on ads, by the way. This is just like my observations and experience over the past 3 years working with a fuck ton of brands. So let's dive into it. So across all of the brands I work with, this is kind of the general pattern that I've spotted between 6-figure brands, 7-figure brands, 8-figure brands. I've worked with a couple 9-figure brands, but honestly, no fucking clue what goes into making a 9-figure brand. So I'll only speak to my experience and my observations that are like directly from me. So let's dive into it, right? So if you want to start a Shopify brand and scale it to 6 figures a year, it's actually really fucking easy, right? You just gotta learn how to serve a demand that's already in the marketplace. If you wanna get to 7 figures, to sum it up, is you just gotta figure out how to serve that demand at scale by mastering one distribution channel, or like one advertising channel, one sales channel, one marketing channel, right? And then to get to 8 figures, it's a lot of the cases just being multi-channel and being kind of like everywhere, having omnipresence, that kind of stuff. So let's kind of dive into like on a granular level what each of these stages look like. So feel free to skip to whatever stage you are at right now. So in the 6-figure stage, you want to be serving a demand, as I said. It just literally means you want to have some degree of product market fit, aka people actually want your product, right? And you can normally test this basically for free, right? So just do some research into in terms of like how to put together your product. A lot of the time you can even drop ship your product unless it's like something crazy unique, right? And then in terms of like product development, if you want to go down the crazy unique route, you can try crowdfunding with like GoFundMe campaigns and that kind of stuff. But if you're drop shipping or just doing something that you think is super cool, but is already kind of on the market, you could literally experiment with TikTok organic and Instagram Reels and get your first few sales that way, just to test out the market, right? And to see like what your audience really cares about. And once you build up traction that way, you might want to understand and experiment a little bit with ads, right? So basically at this level, you literally just want to figure out, do people actually want/give a fuck about your product? So the way you do that is you simply test with either organic to get some traction or with paid advertising, right? Really low spend. So here, the main signs you're really looking for is if your product goes viral organically, it means you're probably about to scale, right? Or you have the potential to scale. There's long-term demand, aka people are coming back to repurchase the products or gifting the products to other people after buying it for themselves, right? That's another really great sign. And lastly, if you're just getting really high return on ad spend, top of funnel with ads, that's also an awesome sign. And in that case specifically, you probably could scale that up even further, right? So here, aka just to sum it up, you're looking for a bit of product market fit, market actually wants your product. And number 2, you're also looking to see if there's actually long-term demand for this. One of the biggest problems that dropshipping stores fail is because they just serve this like viral trend that is relevant to this context of time, meaning that the market shrinks over time and you're unable to scale to serve that entire market. So jumping from 6 to kind of 7 figures, this is what the journey normally looks like. You want to get good at one channel. So remember how one of the signs was like getting good high ROAS on top of funnel with Facebook, right? Then essentially you just want to get really good at Facebook in terms of getting UGC ads, you know, testing a shit ton of creatives, scaling up your campaigns, that kind of stuff. If it was, let's say with TikTok organic and you've built up a good following during the 6 figures phase, you're going to want to test probably with some TikTok ads first, right? Understanding, okay, can I just, you know, boost and run the creatives that have gone viral in the past as creatives and it will get sales that way? How does everything work, right? The whole point of this part in terms of getting to, let's say, 80 to 100,000 per month in revenue, you just need to get good at one channel. One of the things I hear most often with founders at like 50K, they're thinking about trying out, if they're predominantly on, let's say, Facebook, they're trying out Google ads, all of this crap. Just get good at one channel. You only need one channel in order to scale. That's why you see a fuck ton of these like drop shippers, right? They get to like 300, 400, 500,000 per month with just one ad channel, right? So it means it's possible. Just place your attention and focus into one area, and I promise you're gonna do way better. And this is the reason, right? So for example, if you wanna scale Facebook ads, let's say, what's gonna happen is as you scale spend, you're gonna get daily comments. And if you're working on TikTok as well, you're gonna be worrying about a different type of ad format and then trying to juggle Google ads at the same time. It's just gonna get too hectic, right? Because Facebook comments are not getting hidden, like the toxic ones, and the good ones are not getting responded to. And TikTok, same thing here, like you're just not paying attention too much, spreading yourself too thin, right? So all you need to do is just get good at one channel, either paid ads of either Facebook, Google, TikTok, whatever, or organic, right? Mastering organic traffic. Personally, I found way more brands that I've worked with scaled up with paid social as opposed to organic. So I would probably say paid social is a more predictable way to scale up. And as you scale, inevitably your cost of acquisition is going to go up, in which case at around kind of like 50K plus, you should be introducing a lot more like email marketing and potentially even looking into SMS. In which case, not to sponsor this video with my own agency, but if you're a 7-figure brand or like just touching 7 figures, you should book in a call with me in the description below. I help basically brands 50K and up per month, all the way going up to just over 100 million. Scale with email marketing and SMS. We do all of their retention. We do a fantastic job. So you should book in a call to see if it's right to work with us. And lastly, you want to have a good website, right? So a decent website that actually converts at a decent amount, because when you're testing with organic content wise, you're building up a lot of trust with your potential customers. But when scaling to Facebook and TikTok, what's going to happen is you're going to be bringing a ton of traffic to your website that is not going to be familiar with the brand whatsoever. So you really want to make sure your website is like decent and will convert nice in terms of like high resolution images, copy that addresses problems, right? A lot of social proof, reviews with UGC to back up your claims that your product does what it does. Frequently asked questions sections right on the product page, right? Handling concerns around shipping time, product quality, everything along those lines. You gotta make sure it's addressed on the actual website to sell the clicks that has been driven through all of the ad channels, email channels, etc. So if you have all these 3 things, you're pretty much going to be at 7 figures, provided you have the demand, etc. Right? So the big action items to essentially tackle here are going to be trying to further increase the conversion rate of your website, because as you scale, what's going to happen is with Facebook and like just ad algorithms in general, at this spend, you'll basically imagine if out of the entire population, this being the entire population, this percentage of the population, they really need your product. They need it, right? Like they're dying for it. So what's going to happen is when you're spending only this amount of money, Facebook and Instagram, Facebook ad algorithms are really good at targeting specifically this group of people. But let's say you spend this amount of money now, quote unquote, at 7 figures. What's going to happen is you're going to bleed this pool of people dry really quickly, like this pool right here, right? This pool of people desperately needing your products. You're gonna bleed this pool of people dry very quickly. And what's gonna happen is your ads are gonna expand outwards, right? It's gonna start targeting a broader audience. And when it targets a broader audience because you're spending more, what's gonna happen is in terms of qualification, this type of traffic is less qualified, lower quality, right? So when they go to the website, they need more convincing, they need more sales arguments, they need better messaging, right? You need to make them feel the pain more, which is why you need to focus on raising the conversion rate of your website even further. And this can be done with tools like Hotjar, understanding why people are leaving the website, understanding what information is missing by just simply asking people like, why are you not buying from us, right? A lot of the time you're gonna see common patterns come up again and again, whether it be shipping times, price, whatever. You're gonna see that, so you can address it on the website, raise your conversion rates, right? Another thing is increasing average order values. Average order value is one of the lowest hanging fruits here in terms of increasing that, is simply by changing offers, right? So instead of offering percentage discounts, offering, let's say, a buy one, get one free, which is basically like offering a 50% discount, except you double your average order value. Because here's how it works, right? Let's say, your product costs $100. If you're doing a 50% off site-wide constantly, what's gonna happen is people are just gonna add $50, check out, and your average order value is 50, right? But if you run buy one, get one free, people are gonna buy 2 products and still get 50% off because it's buy one, get one free, so it's basically 50% off times 2, right? So think about raising your average order value here, because what's also gonna happen is when you raise AOV, you have more gross profit. And this will help you acquire customers. Because when you have, let's say, $100 in gross profit versus 50, right? That means you have $100 to spend on CAC. And when you have $100 to spend on CAC, it means, you're gonna be able to acquire just more customers because you can outbid your competition, right? Third thing is you want to start negotiating better gross margins with your suppliers, right? So at 7-figure scales, you have a bit of leverage in terms of saying, hey, look, I need a better price on this because I'm giving you more orders. You also have more priority from a shipping perspective. They can start prioritizing you as a customer of theirs, right? So one thing that's super important to bear in mind is when you're negotiating margins, right? Like dropping COGS, make sure to never compromise on better product quality. One of the problems that I see brands, mistakes that brands make is, and applies even at the 7, 8 and 9-figure range, is like you spent so much time building up a good brand quality around the product quality. You're just gonna fuck it up if you say to the supplier, hey, I need a better rate. The supplier goes, okay, cool, but what about if we downgrade this material to protect their margins? Do not take that, right? You need to improve your product while simultaneously lowering your cost of goods sold, right? This is super important that you do that. And next is, when you're doing 6 figures to kind of like bordering 7 figures, you could afford to ship out of like your garage or whatever, right? But when you scale past 7 figures, and if you really want to get past kind of 80 to 100,000 a month consistently, start looking into working with 3PLs, right? Try to look into what 3PL solutions are kind of best for you. Maybe it even makes sense for you to open up a warehouse, let's say in the States, if you're based in the UK, but like 70% of your customers are in the States, right? Thinking about where you can scale to from a fulfillment standpoint, super important, because fast delivery times equal higher conversion rates, right? So all of this essentially is all to do with raising the conversion rate of your website and reducing CAC, right? And then lastly, obviously mastering one single channel, which I covered right here, right? You need to get good at one customer acquisition channel. This is gonna be super important. Now, in terms of signs that you're about to scale past this stage of 7 figures is if you're maintaining profitability, as well as if you're building up awesome social proof, people want it, people love the product, people are, leaving reviews, sending you pictures, tagging you on Instagram, that kind of stuff. This is really, really awesome. As well as if you're profitable still, if you still are profitable on top of funnel, meaning that acquiring customers is a cash flow positive process for you. So this would be that kind of sign. And in terms of 8 figures, this is where my experience doesn't exactly run out, but it's like, there's a lot more moving parts when trying to go from 7 to 8 figures than there is going from 6 to 7. But let me give you kind of like the overarching picture, right? So 7 to 8 figures is essentially going from 80K per month to 800,000 per month. And in order to do that, you've got to start being multi-channel, right? So what I mean by that is being multi-channel simply means, you're advertising on a couple of platforms at least. You have decent organic and that kind of stuff, because the problem with relying on a single traffic channel like Facebook Business Manager, I've literally had this happen to clients of mine where they're doing $6 million a year on Facebook alone, and then Facebook shuts them down because of whatever reason, which I won't get into, but basically Facebook shuts them down, 80% of their revenue disappears overnight, right? So it's a big problem. If you want stability and to go from 7 to 8 figures, you need to start thinking about how do I de-risk myself. Let's say, TikTok bans you or it just goes to shit. You still have Facebook, you have Google Ads, and you have Klaviyo to back you up, right? Or let's say Facebook goes to shit, your Instagram Reels and TikTok organic is still going strong, you still have Google Ads backing you, and your emails are never gonna fail you, right? So that's kind of like the importance of diversification. Another way you can diversify is figuring out what other products you can kind of sell, right? So actually, going back to a point earlier, right? Getting good at one channel, but more importantly, also getting good at one or a few products, one to a few products. Reason why is because when you're launching products constantly, right, you can fall into the trap of product launches and just repeatedly doing product launches. One classic case of this is a brand that I worked with for like 2.5 years, I think. They're in the fitness apparel space. I won't name them specifically, but they were like a drop-based brand. So every drop they did like 50 to 100,000 in revenue. The problem with this strategy was that they had the same constant bestsellers because they had this one messaging that just had a lot of market resonance, right? But because they were addicted almost to like this product drop-based scaling strategy, they would just drop a product, make a quick 50 to 100,000, drop a product, quick 50 to 100,000. But the problem is they were never able to scale past these product drops because the reason people were buying this product specifically was not because, you know, the product was exceptional or whatever. It's just they were so bought into the brand, right? So understanding that to scale from 7 to 8 figures a lot of the time is just about getting good at one channel and selling a couple of products is super, super important. Do not get in this cycle of constantly dropping new products because you think that's how you scale. That's rarely the case, to be honest. So just to give you a couple examples of this, a few of my 8-figure clients, they literally sell between 1 to like 3 products. One beauty brand, I know, in beauty, right? It's fucking rare to see they just get to 8 figures with one product. They have 2 products with 2 color variations each, so 4 SKUs total, and they're doing like 8 million a year. Oh wait, no, actually, they recently crossed the 8 figures mark, right? So just understand that to go from 6 to 7 figures, you need to get good at one channel and 1 to, at the most, like a few products, right? Going from 7 to 8, you need to be on multiple channels. You need to be advertising on multiple platforms to de-risk yourself from potential platform bans. Your email marketing at this point, like, should be dialed the fuck in, right? And you should be constantly looking to improve your product wherever you can, whether it be in the form of packaging, product quality, ingredients, whatever, right? So the 3 main things are you want a diversified traffic source, email and SMS dialed in, and your website also needs to be dialed the fuck in, right? So in terms of, I think I just copied this, but basically copied and pasted this. But basically the major action items to tackle is going to be the same thing as 7 figures, but just done on a much bigger scale, right? Raising the conversion rate of your website. This is an everlasting battle because as you scale, as I mentioned earlier, you know, your traffic is going to go to lower quality pools of audiences. So that means your website conversion rate might convert at, let's say, 5% to the original bucket of audience. But as you scale, that same exact website might even convert only 2.5%, right? So essentially, you want to get it to, let's say, 5 to kind of 8% or even 3 to 8% conversion rate. And you're basically fighting to stay at the same conversion rate over time, right? And then another battle you're going to have is constantly trying to raise your average order values because it's much easier to get someone to spend 50% more on your website than it is to try to cut your cost per acquisition by 50%. That I can absolutely promise you, right? And again, because you're 10 times the amount of revenue you had right here, you can negotiate even better gross margins and you can build even better product because you have way more leverage over your suppliers. And instead of mastering one channel, look to try to master at least a couple channels, right? Be hyper profitable on 2 channels, whether it be Facebook and Google, right? Or Google and TikTok, or Facebook and TikTok. It does not really matter. The main thing to note is you definitely want to have email marketing dialed in, which is why if you're an 8-figure brand, message us, right? So even in here, you could get to 8 figures quite easily with the same 1 to few products. But here you could be quite tempted to just drop new products and kind of like test different products out. What I would suggest is don't get into the addiction of, oh, I need to drop a new product every other week. Drop products tactically to test them to see if they can be added to your core roster, right? This is really important. Now, in terms of 8 to 9 figures, I'll leave that for you to figure out. I have no fucking idea what it takes to make a 9-figure brand, quite frankly, from like a revenue perspective. I have clients who are at 9 figures, but you know, I just haven't worked with enough of them to be able to help you pinpoint exactly what's gonna get you there. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're an e-commerce brand, book in a call with us. I'd love to run your email marketing. And if you're a freelancer or an e-commerce marketer and looking to learn email marketing from the best, I have a course linked in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.